Mr. Blue is in the building. I'm going to let him sit in the middle.
Hop on in, Mr. Jim Blue, President, CEO
right there,
of CEDARS, joining us live, taking the middle seat, the chair of honor.
Big Jim.
Jim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's been a great day.
Which headset we got you on here? I'll figure that out. Let's see. This one should be on. Let's try this one.
That Jake was on.
You got me?
There we go.
Like
Jim Blue. There we
Sounds
go.
like it.
They're back. Welcome back to the program. You keep trying to put everyone else on there. Why not you?
No,
We like to talk to you too.
I'm kind of shy.
You've done this radio thing before, though, so you don't look shy. You don't act shy. I'd like to hear from you.
Guys, I want to thank you very, very much. I'm shaking everybody's hands, by the way, right now.
That's all right.
This has just been a great day, and it's so much fun to see the community energy just roll and roll and roll.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing here is really important for the kids in our care, building this recreation center.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't imagine myself if I was, say, 14 years old and I had problems in my home and I'm all of a sudden in an emergency shelter.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to try and make the freshman football team.
Yeah,
when school starts.
With the instability of
that. And to have the recreational center with the court and the fitness room, but also just the recovery from the trauma going on here is so important. It's a century project. 100 years from now, folks can be thankful to people.
Jim, I just got one quick.
Yeah.
Give us kind of a feel-good story of the young men and women that have come through and how they come back and how you've seen just changes. Give us not necessarily names, but give us just a couple of the stories, because I'm sure your heart has to be warmed when you get an opportunity to look them in the eyes and say, man, look how far you've come, or look where you've come from.
So, we're all real. We all understand that we're dealing with people, sometimes kids who have been really mistreated. Sometimes there aren't miraculous stories.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are really sad stories. And our employees, their ability to hang in there and come back the next day with some really sad stories. But you got to keep those in a place, and you got to remember these really happy ones.
So you have to remain even keeled.
Yeah, you got to just keep everything short, because there are some really sad tragedies.
Yeah.
16-year-old girl who was homeless, and we were working with her for 2 days trying to convince her to come into shelter, and then she disappeared.
Wow.
You got to sort that out and keep it. But then I also remember we were doing some plumbing work here, and our friends at Bigger Staff were here doing the doing the plumbing, and there was a master plumber, and then he had a female apprentice.
Oh, wow.
So that was interesting.
That's awesome.
So I said, hello. She said, I'm sure you don't remember me, but I stayed right here in shelter.
Wow.
2 years ago.
Wow.
And I remember you. And then she saw one of our staff people down the hallway. They went and gave each other a big hug. I mean, those are stories I remember.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And so with her, in partnership with her, she recovered. And now she's in a trade, which is golden, right? You're in the plumbing industry.
That is something that's unusual, especially with the females going in.
Just golden story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, I mean, the CEDARS organization is not just about emergency shelter for teenagers. It's foster care. We always need foster parents, especially for teenagers. I would a million times be a foster parent for a teenager before I would a 6-month-old child, because 15-year-old has a clue about what they missed and what they can still have. A 6-month-old is a 6-month-old.
I got an 8-month-old at home, so trust me, I'm on that wavelength.
But we have a nationally accredited child care center at 27th and Holdridge for the kids of working low-income families. We do after-school programming at Clinton, Hartley, Randolph elementary schools. It's our organization I'm really proud of, and thank you to our friends at the Ticket and the whole community for making this a reality.
Awesome.
It's a joy for us to be out here seeing your work in progress, and part of that, we were out here last year for the first time, a great event. The Carriage House, update us on progress with that.
It's doing great. You folks helped us last year raise the money for the Carriage House. Really unique program, I say, in the universe. No other program that I know of like this. So we have like 70 apartments for kids across the community, 19 to 24 years old. 24 years old, wonderfully successful. 90% of the kids are successful in taking over those apartments. Minors, we are not so successful with. 50% when we put a minor in an apartment, even with all the support we provide. So we're going to do something different. It's a carriage house. So we are building out back here is 2 2-bedroom apartments and 4 1-bedroom apartments. And I don't know the best way to describe this, but it's kind of an independent living skills boot camp, right? So in 3 months, we're going to intensely work with these kids on how to be successful in an apartment in the community on your own with our staff.
And the responsibilities that come with
So
that.
every apartment has a washer and dryer and a dishwasher, everything they need to learn how to do these things. Food acquisition, preparation, storage is so important. That's going to be and our special priority is on pregnant parenting teens that have no place to live. So then we will wrap around parenting skills and healthcare. Really a cool program. Answer your question. We raised some money a year ago for that, and we're going to open in August.
August, nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. I got a call last night, and electricians are out of there now. So now comes the drywall, and it's just moving along wonderfully.
That's incredible. We are so excited to hear that. And then this year's project, Indoor Activity Center.
Yep.
What do you guys envision that being used for?
So this organization serves, there's 1,500 kids sometimes every day. It varies. But we have no one place for kids to congregate and to be together, but also to recreate, right? So our emergency shelter, when the weather is bad, 16-year-old kid has no place to go other than their bedrooms and kind of the common area of shelter. It's bad all the way around. So what this is it's a modest-sized multi-use court, 60 foot. You know, I hear a basketball court's 90 feet.
A little bit longer. Quite a bit longer.
60 feet.
94.
Yeah, 94? Oh, interesting. This is going to be 60. And, we'll have the volleyball, pickleball holes and things like that. But we'll have games in the floor, Foursquare and things like that. We'll also have a 2-lane track around the outside just so kids can walk with staff. But we'll also have a little fitness room. We'll have a little yoga meditation room. We'll have a counseling room. And we'll be building it on campus. It'll be attached to the emergency shelter. So in bad weather, kids will be able to roll out there. But kids from all the programs will use it too. We also will have a nice PA system. We have no place where speakers can come in and talk to groups of our kids. So it'll be built into that. We would love to get someone like Erick Strickland to come in and talk about the discipline that he has focused on throughout his career to be a success. And this will be the environment to do things like that, right? So really looking forward to it. I want to have it open by the winter of 25-26.
There you go.
So we're going to start construction this fall.
Sweet. To pitch into that project, givetolincoln.com, search CEDARS, put the amount, put your information. It's that simple. Drive by. We're still here at 66 and Pioneers. Take donations in person as well. Jim mentioned.
Get in on the 500 for
please,
the
golf trip.
Yeah. Please do. It's really easy. Just go to the website, do it, or drive by here. We'll make it fun for you.
Jim mentioned the congregating, the communal aspect, and the recreation of sports. How did you see that as a benefit to you when you were growing up? Did that spark you as you moved on? Just being with teammates and being in a space with other kids, having that ability to play?
I mean, we had those, obviously, with boys clubs, girls clubs, YMCAs, youth centers, being at the Air Force, so those things were available. And, and it's awesome because the kids from all over the base communities could come to this spot. And it's very similar to what Jim is saying. You're talking about dances. You're talking about skating. You're talking about what are those things when you have the you all are competing, but you're talent shows.
Shows.
You're able to do all of these different things. So it's absolutely beautiful. I will say also, it's similar to what we used to have in the community as a whole. I mean, there would be a circle drive or a court where we would all congregate and just play stick ball. And that's what they're basically building at a facility for these young men and women. It's to bring that camaraderie, it's to bend those relationships, because you can get into a silo, you can get into your own bubbles, and it allows you to be able to branch out and be able to communicate and learn how to do that in those types of atmospheres.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How important is it for that kind of peer-to-peer relationship here at Cedars, right? I mean, we know your staff is amazing, incredible. I want you to talk about them in a minute, but how important is it for maybe those teenagers to come around the kids who are 10 or younger and show them that, hey, you are welcome here, your family here, when it's, kid
space.
to kid?
Yeah, that's safe space.
Another great memory just happened last week. We have an outdoor court here, which doesn't work well in February.
Of course.
Of
course.
We have an outdoor court, but last week there were some kids from shelter playing on it. And there was a really younger kid, sad situation, a 10-year-old kid. And you see this all the time. These kids, they don't know how to shoot a basketball sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to throw a football and which foot to go ahead of the go ahead first
the ball.
compared to the arm. Nobody has taught them how to do that.
Yeah.
So this young man, this 10-year-old, was out there trying to shoot a basketball. 2 of our 17-year-olds, I saw it, and they were a foot taller than this kid. They went up and figuratively wrapped their arms around this young man, taught him how to shoot a basketball.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Those are the stories we're talking
Dozen shots later, he sunk one.
You make him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Quick learner.
Yeah, quick learner.
And
he just needed that.
Yep.
He just needed that little bit. When you go from the top, the older groups are able to, like you said, peer and look at those youngers, and the youngers are able to look up. It's pretty good.
And maybe more important than the lesson in shooting a basket for the 10-year-old was the 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
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 Reaching out and helping somebody else, which is what we asked people to do in the city of Lincoln here to give to Lincoln Day to make this a reality for kids. So just go to the website, make a gift according to your means. This is a real thing. It'll go right to this project. 100% of it is real. Or drive by and drop your donation off.
Again, 6601 Pioneers, givetolincoln.com. Jim, what are you most proud of with your staff here at Cedars?
I would say probably integrity. And I'm going to give you a 2-point answer. You're asking for one thing. It's integrity. As Warren Buffett said in an interview recently, never do business with anyone who is lacking in integrity, because you can't learn it when you're an adult. You can learn as a child,
Sure,
but as an adult, you can't.
Kind of who you are.
Integrity is and that's what we've tried to build our brand, as it were, on, is integrity as an organization, the people who work here, but also longevity.
That's what I was going to say. Retention.
Yeah, retention.
Yeah.
And we have got to the point of, we have folks now that have been here for not just 10 years, 20, 30, and beyond. And that kind of longevity makes for a continuation of values like integrity, where, there is not even a starter for someone who's lacking in integrity around here anymore. We do what we say we're going to do. We're going to build this for the kids because it's important today, and it's important for a century from now. We're going to get this done with the help of the people in the Lincoln community. One
of the things I'm reminded of when you say that, and even before you was about to say that, my mind already gravitated to that longevity, that continuity, that retention. And the reason being is I was reminded of Tom Osborne.
Yeah.
I was reminding of the University of Nebraska, and all of that staff could have at any time went on to bigger and better things, or other things that they even wanted to pursue on their own. But it's created a championship environment, which you've now encapsulated right here at Cedars. And I think that's beautiful.
I'm a Lincoln kid, Erick, Lincoln Southeast. My junior year at Southeast was Frank Solich's last year there. Right? But then they brought in Coach Mazurski, who stayed there 4 years. But then Coach Solich went and coached the freshman team when that existed at the university.
Yeah.
And then he moved on. When I'm a kid growing up in Lincoln, I'm seeing that kind of longevity, that kind of consistency. And it just becomes part of your soul. You know who's there: Osborne, Ron Brown, Coach Solich, Tennifer, all these people. And so it's been a hard couple decades, but but I think that value is being reinvigorated into the program right now.
Amen.
And that's what we try to do here. that's a great example at the university.
Jim, you've been generous with your time. We have one more for you before we get you out of here. I know today is about the excitement of the Carriage House in August. It's about the Indoor Activity Center. But we were talking with Allison before, and she mentioned that you guys don't do anything randomly. It's not just throw it against the wall, see what sticks. There's planning involved. Can you clue us in for what's next for Cedars? Anything else on the horizon?
We have a drop-in center downtown called the Youth Opportunity Center. It's on N Street, and it is the only place where runaway and homeless kids are on the street escaping things, trafficking, can go to get out of the weather, to get a meal, to get help, maybe access to one of our housing options for kids who are homeless. We need a permanent home for that. Maybe it's in that location, maybe not, but I think that the next youth drop-in center is our priority for the future. So we'll see. We may be back here next year talking about that.
You know.
Real quick on
what do you think, DP? Maybe.
It's a thumbs up from Boss Man.
Real quick on that note, because when your team interacts, and it's not a big answer, but when your team interacts with young folk, I could imagine some approaching with a lot of tentativeness. And then, and again, we do have the stories that go both ways. But what I'm saying is it take maybe a couple touches, maybe coming in about 4 or 5 times, maybe not talking at first, and then you kind of start to see a little open. Like is it like your staff has been trained to basically read those things, not to push too hard, not to, you know what I mean? How is that process? Because I think that's something good to know. Because everybody doesn't know how to deal with that. And people listening right now, may run into people that they may catch like that, because you've got to have a fine line before how much you go and how much you try to give an approach, because sometimes there's that trauma, like you said there, that needs to be dealt with first.
So I guess I would approach that, Eric, with the idea of professionalism.
Great word.
So folks who want to just help a kid, and if it doesn't work that time, the volunteers' needs aren't met. That kid's bad, they're never going to get it. So the little savior thing, bubble is broken, professionalism. So I remember one young lady first came to us when she was 15, and she ran away. We never saw her again until about 6 months later, when she came back into shelter. She did really pretty well. She went to a foster home. That didn't work out so well for her. We lost track. She came back again, and this time it stuck.
Wow.
And she moved into one of our foster homes. That worked. And then she moved into one of our apartments. I was with my wife shopping at Hy-Vee, and we were in one of the aisles, and all of a sudden I hear, "Jim!" And she was working there, and she came up and gave me a big hug and said, "I am just doing great and everything, and thank you so much for all you're doing." And, my wife was impressed with me there for a hot minute. And it's the professionalism and giving kids a chance to be kids and learning and realizing they're coming from a pretty fragile state. And eventually that foundation can be solidified with patience.
Nice.
It's happening here at Cedars, 6601 Pioneers Boulevard and across the city of Lincoln. Lincoln, you've stood up for us time and time again, for Cedars time and time again. You got, can I get my math hat on here? About 9.5 hours that we're asking you here to continue to stand up for Cedars and the youth in the community here. Jim, appreciate your time. Great to talk with you again. Thanks for having us out, choosing us to be the conduit for your message. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and we're always rooting for Cedars.
Absolutely. And before I let you go, and before you address it, I just wanted to say, when you drive by here and you see Cedars, you see action. So this isn't one of those things where you donate your money and then all of a sudden you don't see anything happening. You come by here at Cedars, you see action, and that's the beautiful thing about where your money is going and what it's going to help and what it's going for. There's action here.
It's going to the staff who make life-changing differences for kids. When you're on Google, type in "Give to Lincoln," then you see Cedars. Donate what you can. help us out, or come by here and say hello to our friends.
All good.
That'd be awesome. We'd love to see you. We'll go to break. Jim Blue with us here. Strickland and Austin back for more on the block right after this.